I'm going to shut this door. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
There's sometimes detectives and other people walking in. I want to make sure we aren't interrupted.
Okay.
Okay. First off, I'm Brent Kirkpatrick. As I stated, I'm with the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. I don't know if you know much about our agency, but the best way I can describe it is like we're sort of like a state level FBI.
Okay.
We have specialized units that do specialized types of investigations. I happen to be in the Southwest Special Investigations Unit. So we get involved in incidents where a local police department needs assistance or they don't have enough manpower.
Okay.
That involves officer-involved shootings, like what we're here for today, homicides, public corruption, things like that. We also had, in this particular incident, Beaver Creek Police Department asked for our assistance, as well as our crime scene unit and our cybercrime unit. So that's why we're here. That's how we got involved. They being Beaver Creek Police Department, they want an independent review of what happened.
Okay.
The only way we can be thorough and complete is if we talk to everyone who witnessed what happened. And unfortunately, you and your husband were in an aisle directly across from where this incident occurred, and you witnessed what happened. So it's very important that we speak to you about what went down that day. This is a criminal investigation. We don't believe that you had any part of any wrongdoing in this. You were strictly a witness in our eyes. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to start off as earlier in the evening, work our way up to when you arrived at Walmart, what you did, what you saw, and what happened after the incident took place. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions or concerns before we get started?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's going to be a very similar interview to what we had done previously with your husband, Tyler. So we'll get started with some easy questions, but biographical type information. Work through what led up to the incident, and then post-incident questions. And then at one point, I would like for you to review the video.
Okay.
And I know before we came in this room, you and I and Tyler discussed the fact that you don't want to be alone when you watch that particular video. So what we'll do is we'll pause the video, or before we play the video, I'll go get Tyler,
okay,
have him come in here and sit with you. Are you okay with that?
That's fine.
All right. Because, and the reason why we do that, it's important for you to walk us through what's happening.
Okay.
And I'll ask Tyler when he comes in here to please try to keep his comments to a minimum, because we need to know what you saw, your impressions, your thoughts.
Right.
Now, I know they're probably going to be very similar to what your husband saw, but we need to know your story, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before we get started here, let's start off with the easy questions, because I don't know how often you do this. You might be a little nervous about coming out and talking to us, being in a police station. So we'll start off with some easy stuff, like, if you would for me, please say and spell your first and last name.
April, A-P-R-I-L.
All right.
Ritchie, R-I-T-C-H-I-E.
Do you have a middle initial or name?
M for Marie.
Could you spell it for me?
M-A-R-I-E.
Great, thank you. Your current address. Okay.
I think it's road. I'm not
Okay.
sure. And it's
All right, and I called you earlier on a cell phone.
mm-hmm.
Left a message that's 937. Do you have a home phone?
No.
Okay. Yeah, home phones are becoming a rare thing now. And just for the record, your date of birth?
March 4th, 1987.
And Social Security, please? Okay, let me look back through a few things here. And again, before we came in this room, we were talking about your employer.
Mm-hmm.
That is and like we were talking, it's not the corporate location office.
Right.
Which one is it?
It's at,
Okay.
and I don't know what the zip code is,
Well,
it's
that's
in
all right.
Dayton.
That's a Dayton address, sure. And what do you do there?
Process insurance documents.
Okay. How long have you been there?
11 months.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take you back to Tuesday evening. Why don't you just sort of tell me what led up to the decision that you and Tyler had to head to the Walmart?
We were trying to figure out what we were going to have for dinner,
Okay.
and decided to go to Burger King, which is right in front of Walmart.
Okay.
And he always likes to go and walk around after eating, because that's what he does.
Okay.
And so we decided to go to Walmart since it was right there.
Uh-huh.
And so we went over there just to walk around while we digested our food.
Okay. So what time did you actually get to Walmart? Do you recall?
Not 100% sure. I want to say it was probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Okay. And you're just going to walk around?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what'd you do once you got? Did you stay together the whole time you were there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going back to a question or a statement that Tyler made to us earlier. Did you have an injury?
Yeah.
You have an injury?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see my foot. My ankle is like super swollen.
Yeah. What'd you do?
I fractured my ankle in November,
Okay.
and I have ligament and tendon tears.
Okay.
So anytime my ankle acts up, I will ride on a scooter because it hurts to walk.
Okay. Were you on a
So-
scooter that night? Okay. Does that somewhat limit your mobility then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you were walking around, just anything were you looking for anything in particular, or just browsing?
Just browsing. We
Okay.
started over on the grocery side and just went through electronics, went through sporting goods, made our way over to hardware, and that's when I saw him come around the corner was when we got over to hardware.
And when you say him come around the corner, who are you referring to?
Mr. Crawford.
Okay. The suspect who was shot? Okay. Do you know how long you had been in Walmart before you approached or encountered the subject?
It was about 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
30 to 40, something like that, because it was just long enough to go down that back row.
And what did you notice?
Well, I was sitting on the scooter facing, like, say that's the wall, because it's that corner. There's like a back row that comes this way.
Okay.
And then there's the road that we were in. And I was sitting in the scooter facing the road because I wasn't interested in looking at anything in the tools. And my husband had his back to me and he was looking over here. And my phone had rang, it was on vibrate. So I picked it up, and as soon as I picked it up, I saw him walk around the corner and he had the gun like this. And as soon as he came around the corner, he kind of swung it up on his shoulder. And he just kind of walked right past us, and I didn't say anything. Like, I was trying not to make contact, trying not to look at him, and my mom was trying to get my attention, and I was like, guy, gun, hold on.
That's what you told your mom?
Yeah.
Guy, gun,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I said it really quiet because I didn't want him to hear me, because I didn't want to
How
panic
close
him.
was he, obviously, at this point?
When I said that, he was about, I'm trying to think how far automotive is. He was right by the doors that lead to the back room, right by automotive.
So by the garden center doors?
Mm-mm,
No? Okay.
no. It was the first set of doors that lead to the back room, like where the associates take the stock in and out.
Okay.
It's right there by automotive.
Okay.
So, like, where he was pretty much to the end of the aisle, starting to head that way. So,
And when you say, I'm sorry, when you say that way, just
starting
what
to head
section?
towards Pets.
Head towards Pets,
Yeah.
okay.
Walking down the back aisle towards Pets.
All right, so how far away, approximately?
I would say about 10, maybe 20 feet.
Okay, so he's pretty close.
Mm-hmm. And I...
Close enough that you whispered, correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And she understood what I was saying. She goes, call me back when you're safe. And so I hung up the phone.
That's what she said. She
Yeah.
understood just those 3 words?
Yeah.
Something was not right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I hung up with her, and as soon as I realized he was at a safe enough distance for me to get my husband's attention, I got his attention, and I pointed because I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want his attention.
Okay.
And I was like I pointed, and he realized what I was pointing at because he saw the gun. And he said that he was going to call 911 because obviously that's not normal.
Right.
So that's when he got on the phone with 911, and we started walking up, like kind of trailing behind him at a safe distance, so we could, because the 911 operator was wondering like where he was and
Okay.
all that. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to see him, but at a safe distance. And it was more like I was following my husband because he's a former Marine, so he's like trying to stay calm and
I understand.
knew what a safe distance was.
When you had that encounter with him within that 10, 20 feet, whatever, that distance, that close distance, did you get a good description of him?
I briefly saw his face.
Okay. Just describe what you saw, if you would, please.
Of his face?
Yeah.
He had, I saw his hair first, he had like an afro. It wasn't like really big, but he had his hair like kind of pulled up on top of his head.
Black male?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had, I want to say facial hair, I can't remember. Like I said, I didn't really stare.
Okay.
I didn't really want to.
What about his clothing?
He was wearing a black t-shirt and baggy jeans.
Okay.
And he was on his cell phone.
Did you get close enough to notice if he had an odor of alcohol or smell of marijuana or anything?
Yeah, he walked right past me. Like, I mean, when he walked around the corner, he literally like walked right past me.
Okay.
And I didn't smell anything.
Okay.
At the time, and there was no strong scent coming off of him.
Did you notice anything unusual about his demeanor?
He was acting very shady, I guess you could say.
Okay,
Explain
that a little more.
He was kind of being overly aware of his surroundings.
Okay.
And he was very, like, not trying to raise any precautions from anybody other than obviously holding a gun. But, I mean, he wasn't talking to anybody.
He had the phone too?
Yeah, he had the phone. That's the only person he was talking to was whoever was on his phone.
Okay.
But he wasn't acknowledging, like, he wasn't making eye contact that I saw. Obviously, it was on his back. But anybody, like, he wasn't looking down the aisle.
So he didn't engage you or your husband?
Mm-mm.
He didn't. Did you hear him direct any comments to you or your husband? Any threatening moves or motions towards you or your husband at that time?
The only thing that was threatening to me was when he came around the corner and it was pointed and he kind of swung it.
Okay.
That was the only thing that was threatening to me, and that scared me enough that it alarmed me.
It scared you enough that at that point you said,
I felt unsafe.
man, gun, or
Right, yeah.
told your mom,
Yeah.
something's going on.
Right.
Okay. And at that point, he walks away.
He was, yeah.
Did you get a good look at the weapon? I understand it may have been brief, but why don't you describe to me what you saw?
It looked similar to my husband's AR. I mean, it had a long barrel on it. It had, it looked like a clip in the bottom of it. It had, like, I don't even know what it's called, like the thing that goes on the barrel that you can put a scope on.
Okay.
And it was black. And he had his finger, like, pretty much on the trigger the whole entire time while he was walking.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did you see an orange tip that would be an indication of, like, a toy gun?
No.
Toy guns have plastic, or the orange tips now.
No.
At any time, did you think it was a toy gun?
No.
Did it ever occur to you, or did you think it may even be a BB gun or an air rifle?
No.
All right. So based upon your experience with your husband's gun, you assumed, based upon looking at that it was an assault rifle?
Yes.
All right. And you stated earlier that you were concerned enough about it that you didn't want to draw attention to yourself, so you whispered to your mom, man, gun.
Yeah.
Or something similar to that effect.
Yeah.
Okay. And then shortly after he walked away, you got your husband's attention.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Then go ahead. Tell me what happened then. Told your husband about what you saw.
Yeah. And he turned around, and that's when he had said that he was going to call 911.
Okay.
And he called 911, and I watched him walk up to Pets, and he stopped, like, at the very far corner of Pets.
Okay.
And he was just standing there on the phone. Like, he wasn't, like, actively looking at anything. I mean, he didn't act like he had any business being there. He wasn't, like, normally when you're looking at a shelf, you're picking stuff up. You're actually, like, looking at things.
Looking for a particular
Right.
item or product.
Right. And
it didn't appear he was doing that.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And at one point I saw him start to mess with the weapon. I don't know, like I said, I mean, I wasn't really paying, like, I was kind of behind my husband and didn't really, guns unless I'm around him scare me.
Okay.
So, but I heard him clicking the gun, and I didn't know if he was trying to load it. I didn't know what he was doing. And we were about 50 to 60 feet away, so we weren't close enough to actually...
Were you still in the tools or hardware section?
We were along the back aisle. Now we were about where toys were when he started doing that.
Okay.
And when I saw him start doing that, I went down one of the aisles, and my husband stayed out there and kept an eye while he was on the phone with the 911 operator,
Okay.
giving her step by step. And when my husband started walking up more, I followed him up a little bit closer. We were still in toys, but I followed him up a little bit closer, and we stopped probably about 5 or 6 aisles away from where Pets was.
That you could still see?
Yes.
Okay.
And at one point I saw a family. It was a Mexican family. They weren't really speaking English, but this was when he had, like, the gun kind of next to his leg.
He had it pointed down?
It was the butt of the gun was on the floor, and he was holding the barrel in his hand.
Okay.
And it was kind of behind his leg, and this guy walked up with his 2 kids, and he started, like, waving, like, he didn't really, like, wave it, but he pointed it in their direction.
Okay. So the end of the gun, the muzzle end where the bullet would come out of the barrel,
Mm-hmm.
was pointed in the general direction of that Hispanic family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I believe the dad noticed, because, like, as soon as that happened, he directed his kids away from the situation. So I don't know.
Did you hear them say anything?
Mm-mm. They were talking in Spanish. I don't
Did
know.
the subject with the gun say anything? Did anyone?
He was on the phone still.
Still on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And there was another family that came up that they didn't notice either. And they stood there, and that time he had it just next to him. He didn't do anything with it. He was still on the phone.
And describe that family. Can you tell me
It was,
recall?
it looked like probably about 40-something white woman.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had, like, I want to say the one was a teenage boy, and the other one was a child that was in the cart.
Okay.
And they, like, stopped briefly and then went out to the garden
in
center.
the pet area?
Yeah,
Okay.
they stopped and were looking at the fish or something, but it was one of the fish that was on the very end, and they went out to lawn and garden. Like, they weren't there that long.
Okay.
And then when they came out of lawn and garden, he had it on his shoulder again. And the teenage kid kind of looked around, and, like, as soon as he did a double take and got his mom's attention, and they, without saying anything, like, left that area.
Okay.
To get away from the area, obviously.
That's what you assumed they were doing?
Right.
It was clear to you that the boy noticed the man with the gun?
Yeah, and he, like, tapped his mom on the shoulder. He didn't say anything, he just kind of tapped.
Okay.
And they went away from the area.
Did she turn and look at that time? You recall?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I want to say she did, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, that's fine. Just whatever you can remember. But after they came back through, he tapped her on the shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and they quickly left the area.
Yeah.
At that time, did the suspect with the gun engage those people?
Mm-mm.
Any conversation, say any words?
Mm-mm.
Is he still on the phone at this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was on the phone pretty much up until, like, I want to say he was on the phone until, like, the whole entire thing happened.
Okay.
I don't think he got off the phone at all.
Okay.
I saw that phone up to, I mean, unless he was just holding it at one point, I don't know, but he had the phone up to his ear pretty much the whole time.
Okay, so this second family comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
You and your husband are still watching what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And your husband is on 911 this entire time?
Yes.
And you're behind him
Yes.
still? Okay, what proceeds to happen next?
That's when the cops came in, and
I'm going to stop you for a second. Do you know what direction they came from? Did you see them
They
come
came from the left, like, I imagine they came in from the pharmacy, like the door right next to the pharmacy.
Okay, from that area is
yeah,
where they appeared to come
yeah.
from? Okay, how many officers were there?
I saw 2 or 3. I want to say there was one at the far end of the aisle, and there was 2 closest to me. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But as soon as I saw cops, I went down the aisle.
Did they stop and tell you anything? Did they say get back?
No. They didn't even see us. We were behind them.
Oh, okay.
They came to the end of the aisle,
Okay.
and they said, put it down, and he turned around towards them.
Can you describe what the officers were wearing? Were they both wearing the same uniform?
Yes.
They were? Okay, did both officers give commands?
I only heard one.
You only heard one voice?
I believe.
Okay. Do you know which one it was? Could you tell which one it was? Okay. And these officers that responded, were they carrying weapons?
Yes.
Did they have their weapons out?
Yes.
Brandish their weapons?
Yes.
Did they have handguns, tasers,
No.
rifles?
They had rifles.
They both had rifles? Okay. And at that point, the officers approach, you hear them say,
Put it down,
put it down, put it down. And then what happened next?
He turned towards them with the gun still in his hand. At that point, I was down the aisle.
Did you see him turn towards the officers?
As I was going down the aisle, because I was over on this side,
Okay.
and so there was about 4 feet for me to go to get down the aisle, and I was still on the scooter.
Okay.
And so I saw them, and as soon as I saw them, I went to go down the aisle, and I saw him start to turn.
Okay.
So I didn't see it when he full-fledged turned, but I saw him start to adjust his body.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then I heard 2 gunshots.
Okay.
And when I heard 2 gunshots, I ran to my husband. I didn't even care about my hurt foot. I
How
ran
far
to my
away
husband.
was he?
He was about 3 feet away from me. He was still at the end of the aisle.
Okay.
And I tried to grab him because I didn't know where the shots were coming from. Last I saw, the guy was starting to turn around, so I thought that he was the one that fired the shots.
Okay.
So I was trying to grab my husband, and I looked over and saw him on the ground. And that was around the same time that they said, it was right after they said he's getting up. I heard something like he's getting up or something like that, or he's moving. I don't remember exactly what they said, but something to the effect that he was running.
Okay.
And when I came out of the aisle, the cops were on the ground handcuffing him.
Okay. Now, I want to back up and make sure I've got this correctly, if I heard you correctly. You didn't see who fired the shots.
Correct.
At that time, you just assumed it was the man that had the gun and not the police officers.
Right.
Okay. But you didn't actually see anybody fire a shot, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then after you heard the shots, you were backing away, didn't realize your husband was up there. You had to grab him.
Yeah. And that's when I saw the cop handcuffing the suspect.
Okay. And in between that time, you heard them say he's running, he's moving,
something to that effect.
Something to that effect. Could you see the suspect at that time? Did you see any movement from him?
When they had him on the ground, no.
Okay.
They had him pinned down.
Okay.
And after they had him pinned down, they said, everybody get the F out of the store. Okay. And so all of them started all the cops started evacuating everybody. Okay. And that's when we all started, I left the scooter and I ran.
Okay. Did you hear any other verbal conversations or anything else said, whether it be from the suspect carrying the gun or the police officers? So you heard, put it down, correct? Mm-hmm. 2 shots, mm-hmm. And then you heard someone say he's running, he's moving, something to that effect, correct? Mm-hmm. Did you hear anybody else say anything? Did you hear the suspect say anything like,
I heard,
stop, don't shoot?
No. I heard what sounded like a whimper, and I thought that was when they were getting him down. I didn't know that it was when I thought that it was when they were actually getting him on the ground.
Okay.
But he was kind of it sounded like he was in pain.
Okay.
And before that, I didn't really hear much because it was a bunch of commotion around me because there was people trying to run to the back room and all of that. So after I heard the shots, I didn't hear anything until I saw him, until I heard him kind of like making a sound of pain.
Obviously, lots of things going on at the time, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Prior to the officers arriving on scene, I'm going to back up a little more. Prior to the officers arriving on scene, where you saw them approach, did you know that the police were on their way? Did you get any indication that the police were coming?
My husband told me.
Okay.
In a quiet voice, obviously, while he was on the phone with 911. The operator told him that they were on scene.
Okay.
So he told me, and then I heard the sirens for a brief second. They weren't on that long.
Okay.
For me to hear.
Okay.
And then after they shut off, and then within not even a minute, they were inside.
Were the sirens clear enough that they could easily be heard within the store?
Yes.
Would it be reasonable to say that the suspect could have easily heard those sirens as well?
Yes.
Was there any way
I was further away from the building, outside of the building, than he was.
So he was closer, and you clearly heard sirens that the police are approaching.
Yes.
Someone with a siren is approaching the building.
Yes.
Okay. During this whole time, did you, other than the Hispanic family and the other lady with the children, did you see anyone else around that area who may have witnessed or seen that suspect with the gun?
There was a guy that was a couple aisles up from us that he was kind of like walking in and out of the edge of the aisle, and he was on the phone. I don't know who he was on the phone with, but he was watching, like, I mean, he was like kind of in and out of the aisles, trying to get closer.
No, back at, who was this then?
It was another gentleman.
Just another gentleman?
Yeah.
Not a store, not someone that had an associate uniform on or name tag, anything like that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And he was behind us at first, and then kind of went around me, and then he started trying to get closer. He got like maybe 3 aisles away from where this guy was.
Okay. Was he on the phone?
Yes.
Do you have any idea who he was speaking with?
I have no clue. Okay. I didn't.
You weren't close enough to hear the conversation?
I wasn't really paying attention to the conversation.
That's fine.
And then there was there was a lady.
Well, I want to stop, and I'm sorry to keep
you're
interrupting.
fine.
I just want to make sure we cover everything. This gentleman that was on the phone, he kept inching closer?
Yeah.
How close did he finally get?
He was probably about 3 to 4 aisles. He was like an aisle or 2 closer than we were.
Was he in a position where he could see what was going on as well?
Yes.
Okay. He could clearly see the suspect with the gun?
Yes.
Can you describe what he was wearing? I know I'm asking a lot, but I have to ask. Because maybe someone we could identify and speak with later.
I want to say he had blonde hair.
White male?
White male.
Okay.
Blue jeans, and I want to say he had on like a red shirt, but I'm not 100% sure about the color of the shirt.
Maybe a red shirt.
Yeah, and he was about, I would say, 6'1". He was only a couple inches shorter or taller than my husband.
Okay.
And he was very slender, and his body type was very slender.
Any distinguishing marks, tattoos, earrings, anything that you think of?
Not that I remember.
What kind of hair? Long hair, short hair?
It was shorter. I mean, it wasn't long, but it wasn't buzz cut.
Okay. It's almost like a medium length hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very slender. No, like I said, no distinguishing marks, no tattoos, sleeves, anything like that.
He may have had a hat on. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember.
Well, how long did you see this gentleman?
It was like right towards the end. Like it was the last minute, if that.
Okay.
It was right before the cops showed up.
Okay. And could you see this other gentleman the whole time you were there? I mean,
it wasn't the whole time. It was like, I mean, he was behind me. I don't know where he came from.
Okay.
But he went like right around the last minute, right before my husband said that the cops were on scene. He had walked around me, and I saw him go in an aisle, and then come out of an aisle and go back in an aisle. And that's the last place I saw him, because that's when the cops came in. So I don't know if I saw him for maybe 30 seconds to admit it.
Okay. Any other description you could give me that you haven't already provided? White male, blonde hair, blue jeans, maybe a red shirt, 6'1", very slender. No distinguishing marks that you could recall?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Did he say anything to you?
No.
Did he make contact or any visualization or with the suspect with the gun?
Not that I saw.
Okay. Anybody else? I think you think you were telling me about someone else before I interrupted.
Yeah, when we were standing back by where automotive is, there was an associate, I'm guessing, that was either taking a customer to find something, or the customer was taking her over to show her the guy with a gun. She came over to that far wall, and she went like this and looked, and then she guided the person away.
Okay, again, description, white?
She was white, about medium build. She had brown hair. I believe she had glasses. And she
brown
was,
hair?
Yeah, and she was wearing normal Walmart attire.
What age do you think she'd be?
About 20s or 30s.
And I didn't ask you earlier, what age do you think that white male was with the blonde hair?
About the same. He was probably late 20s, early 30s.
20s, 30s, okay. So white female, medium build, glasses, brown hair, 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Anything else?
She was a normal...
She was an associate?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't catch her name tag or anything like that.
Okay. And she was with a customer?
Mm-hmm.
Describe that individual.
I only got a glimpse, so
yeah,
again, what I remember.
your best guess.
I want to say it was a woman. It was a white woman.
Okay.
In her, looked like 40s.
Okay.
Long brown curly hair, and I'm not 100% sure what she was wearing. I just kind of saw her poke around, like, with the associate. I didn't.
What was your impression? Were you under the impression that they saw the gentleman, and because he had a gun, they quickly left the area?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said they were in automotive?
Yeah, it was like the center aisle where automotive, in between automotive and hardware.
Okay. That big, large center aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about this white male with the blonde hair? What aisle was he in?
He was up by the where the clearance, not the clearance, the lawn and garden stuff starts.
Okay. All right. So this associate and this other female turn the corner.
They kind of like the associate came out further than the customer, and she kind of looked down and she saw the person and then went back the way she came from.
And you told me that the white male that you saw with the blonde hair, that was before the police arrived?
Right, it was
right
almost
before?
Immediately before, yeah.
What about these two? When did this occur with the associate and the other female?
It was probably about 2 minutes before the cops showed up.
2 minutes. Could you see their faces? Did they look concerned? I mean, could you tell that in that brief amount of time where you saw the associate and the female customer?
I can't remember.
Okay. Well, again, I've got to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anybody else that you saw who may have been around that area?
There wasn't really that many people around until right when it happened. I saw 3 people that were close to me.
Again, this is 8:30 at night. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I called my mom at 8:28 when I was running out of the building.
Okay.
So.
And that was where I was leading to next.
Yeah.
2 shots go off. The police officers tell you to get out of the building, and is that what you did?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened?
I picked my purse up out of the cart, and I grabbed my husband, and we ran.
Was this one of those electric scooters?
Yeah.
So you didn't have to walk?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just left it there. At this point, I didn't care. I was scared, so I grabbed my purse and I ran.
Okay.
And I made it to about where the service desk was, and I ran out of breath, so I started trying to walk, and the associates were like yelling at me to hurry up, hurry up. So I started trying to run again, and I made it outside, and we saw a girl that was saying she couldn't find her boyfriend.
Okay. Again, describe that person.
She looked like she was mixed,
Okay.
African American white.
Okay.
She
Female.
Yeah. She was about medium build.
Okay.
She had her hair pulled back, and she looked like she was wearing scrubs,
Okay.
I believe. It looked like a scrub. I believe it was a scrub top. It wasn't really.
And she was inquiring about her boyfriend?
Yeah, she was on the phone, and she's like, I can't get hold of my boyfriend. And we asked what he was wearing, and she said black shirt and blue jeans. And
did she describe his appearance other than black shirt and blue jeans as a black male?
No, not really.
Okay.
She just said that it was black shirt and blue jeans, and we asked if he had an afro, and she said yes.
Okay. And then, was there any more conversation?
No, the cops were telling us to get away from the building.
Okay.
So we walked back to our cars, and she started trying to talk to them.
Talk to the police?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't really hear what she was saying. I just saw her go up to him, and then we got in our car because we were told, like, they were telling everybody to get back. So
Sure.
we got in our car, and they started taping everything off, and they were going to be taping in our car. So
Okay.
they said to go.
All right.
So
Did you ever speak formally to any of the police officers, like we witnessed what was going on?
mm-mm.
Did you ever provide a written statement?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And before we came in here, we were meeting. I was meeting with you and your husband, and he provided a written statement.
Yes.
We're going to ask you to do the same thing
Okay.
as well. And like him, we don't expect you to do it tonight. We'll
Okay.
give you the paperwork, and you can take it out and bring it back.
Yeah, I didn't stick around. I was having a panic attack. So.
We were also made aware of the fact that as a result of what happened there was a woman that had a medical issue. Did you see any part of that? Okay.
I was running in between the aisles. I was trying not to go anywhere close to them. So
Okay.
I didn't actually go up towards the front of the building until I was by jewelry.
Okay.
So
Were you ever made aware that there was a medical issue with a female at the store?
I didn't know until the news reports came out about it.
Saw it on the news.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything about the events that transpired? I know we've been talking a while now.
Oh, you're fine.
That I didn't ask her you think we need to go over?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Maybe we could-
What I would like to do is go over the video with you. We'll try to minimize the amount because we have quite a bit of video from that time, so we're going to use just the one camera view that basically shoots down the pets aisle with the suspect and the gun. I know you don't want to watch this by yourself, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave here. I'm going to go get Tyler, come back, and we'll watch it. Are you okay with that? Are you comfortable me leaving you here? I'll leave the door open until he should be just out in the waiting room. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm going to give you this chair. Well, that's fine, whatever you want to do. I wasn't going to make her move, but if you're going to, then that's what we'll do. I want you to hear me roar. I'm going to shut the door if you're okay with that. Well, we've gone through basically the same scenario. We went through pretty much the same set of questions. Now we're to the point where I want to go over the video with her. And again, she didn't want to view it by herself, so Tyler's here now. We're going to go over the video. Just going to ask you to go over the series of events. And like I was telling her earlier, the reason why we brought her in by herself is because we want her account of the story and not yours. So if you could, I understand you want to fill in for her where she may be leaving stuff off, but if you could keep your comments to a minimum, that would be great because we need her side of the story.
Right.
Even though we know pretty much it's going to be very similar to what you saw because you had the same vantage point, basically.
I didn't see as much as he did, but...
Well, and I understand that, and all we can ask is for you to comment and look at what you see to see if this seems to be an accurate portrayal of what you saw.
Okay.
If you need me to stop the video, tell me to stop if you want to add some additional information. Or if at any point you get uncomfortable and you don't want to see it anymore, tell me stop. We'll be done.
Okay.
Before you came in, Tyler, I said we're going to minimize this to that one shot down the pet food aisle. Basically the same video we saw of you. We're going to condense it so we don't have to watch, 30 minutes worth of video. We'll get it down to like a 5-10 minute, 10 a minute range, okay? So, can you see that okay?
A little bit. There you go.
Okay. I don't know where we're at here, so I'm going to back it up a little bit.
8:21 was the time I got on the phone.
8:21 was the time you got on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. What we'll probably do is, so there's some people. And at any time if we're going through this, if you see the people that you've identified as other potential witnesses, please let me know. It's like, oh yeah, that's the guy, or that's the family.
Okay.
I'm going to keep going forward a little.
Angle it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
The light's clearing it.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we at?
8:13.
Is that the white male, white can? Okay. This particular clip isn't as long as I thought it was. I'm going to start here,
Okay.
right about 8:19,
Okay.
and just play it because at this point, the suspect hasn't come into view.
Okay.
And can you tell me where you're at this particular point? So
like
this is
the-
2 minutes before your husband calls.
The file continues to go this way,
Okay.
and we were down in hardware in the very far other corner.
Okay, so it's straight back, is it a
Mhm.
straight shot?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play it. And there's no audio,
Okay.
so all you see is video, okay? Circle around here. And if you tell me you want me to stop it, point something out, please do that, okay?
Am I supposed to tell you like when the suspect comes in and all that?
Yeah, if you see him or you recognize the suspect, then please point him out to me.
Okay.
And there may be a slight difference in time between your recollection of the cell phone call and their time on their DVR, so.
And I think at 8:21 he was back further this way anyway, so
Okay,
I don't think he got up there until a couple minutes later.
okay. So you may have been viewing him already at this point?
Oh, we saw him he saw him starting back in like automotive area.
Okay,
So we saw him the whole entire way walking up.
okay.
Right there.
Okay, so that's him. Again, he's on the phone, correct? Has the gun. And
Yeah.
please tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm incorrect, let me know. Is this where you said it just looks like he's just standing there
Yes.
with no purpose? He's
Yes.
not picking up items, he's not looking for any particular product?
Yes.
Okay. And if you see anything on here where you think you hear a clicking noise, I believe you said it sounded like he was doing something to the gun?
Right there.
Right there?
I think. Wait a minute. Yeah, right there is when he's messing with the gun. He has a cell phone propped up in his ear.
Okay. Did you have any idea what he was doing? I mean, did you make any assumptions or?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I just knew it didn't look right because he wasn't actively looking at stuff, and he was just standing there on the phone messing with the gun.
Okay.
And he's still messing with it.
And so far at this point, we haven't seen anybody else
Right.
around him. The gentleman that you saw with the blonde hair and the associate and the female, where would they be in relationship to this video, this particular camera angle?
The guy would be probably about right here. It's about 3 or 4 aisles this way.
Okay.
So like the aisles that are going this way,
Mm-hmm.
he was in one of those. And then the associate was about 6 aisles behind where we were. 5 or 6 aisles behind where we were.
Okay. Is anything that you're seeing inconsistent with what you're remembering?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And you're watching him this entire time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Albeit from a position from behind your husband, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how long do you think, or can you recall? I'm going to pause it right there. Did you see
That was the Mexican family.
That was the Hispanic family
Yes.
that walked by?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just that brief?
I want to say I thought that they went up there and looked at it.
Okay. Why don't we just keep
They
watching,
may have.
okay? How long do you think you observed him in total?
Probably about 7 or 8 minutes.
Okay. All right.
And there's that one family I was talking about.
Okay. I'm going to pause it here. It appeared that that child looked down
Mm-hmm.
towards the direction of the suspect.
That's when he has it next to him, like on his side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it appeared as though he was concealing the weapon
Right.
with his body?
Right.
Did you think that was intentional? Did you think he was doing that intentionally? I mean, I'm just asking
I
for
don't
your
really
opinion.
know. Like,
Okay. All right, let's just keep going. And the reason why I ask is
He
because
was
you
swinging around on one side at a time.
clearly see him
Yeah.
start swinging it there again. Okay. So that family left, and you said
they went to a garden center.
the garden center,
Mm-hmm.
and at one point they come
They come
back.
back out, yeah.
I don't believe we have that on this particular vantage point because of the angle of the camera.
Yeah, I believe because they come out this way, and they weren't anywhere close to the fishing stuff,
Okay.
or the fish stuff. But he had it up in the air like that when they came back out. Like it is now. Where it's propped up
okay.
like that.
I see. I will warn you in about 20 seconds is when the police arrive and
Okay.
Of course, you can't hear the commands because there's no audio here.
Yeah.
It's about 26:55.
Okay.
Okay, just to give you some warning. And then again, if you need me to stop. I'm going to stop it there. Does that seem to fit what you recall?
Yeah. Can you
You want me
rewind
to
it for a
go, want me to go
second?
back?
Yeah.
This is sort of touchy, so I may go too far back for
Okay.
you, but. This is about 10 seconds before. Is that good
Okay.
enough?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That's what you recall.
Mhm. I saw him that like when he kind of swung the gun this way.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and then I went down the aisle.
Before the shots were fired.
Yeah.
Again, you saw
Yeah.
the rifle swing back, the muzzle in, where the bullet would come out
Right. Like
towards the
where
officer,
it just swung. Yeah.
and then you turn the other way.
Mhm.
And as you turned away, did you hear pop, bang, bang, or?
I heard it as soon as I got in the aisle.
Okay, all right. All right, and no other shots were fired that you
Mhm.
heard, okay? All right.
And then right before he got up, I heard an officer say he's getting up or whatever
He's
they
running
said.
or whatever
Yeah.
whatever
And
those
then
commands were.
as soon as I came around the corner, they had him on the ground.
Okay, and at this point, is that where you think you heard what was a whimpering or a noise
Mhm.
that sounded like someone was in pain?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other sounds? I know I've asked you, but I'll ask you again.
Mhm.
Any other sounds from the suspect on the ground or the police officers? Any comments from them?
Nope.
Okay.
The next thing I heard after that was get the F out.
And that was from the police officers who
Mhm.
were trying to get everyone out of the scene. Okay. Do you have any? That's all I want you to view for this part. Is there any comments before I close it out or minimize it? Okay. I'm just going to review, make sure I've got the story straight here, and then we'll be about done. Okay.
Okay.
So, just to recap,
Okay.
you and Tyler went to the Burger King for dinner. After dinner, you decided you'd go walk around at Walmart. You got there approximately between 7:30 and 8 p.m. You walked around for a little bit. You noticed a black male with an afro, black T-shirt, baggy jeans, on a cell phone, and he was carrying a gun. And you know, based on experience with your husband having firearms, that it appeared to be an assault rifle, like an AR-15, like your husband has at home.
Yeah.
And he seemed overly, as you said, overly aware of his surroundings. Is that correct? Okay. And at any time you did not think that was a toy gun? Didn't see a orange tip or anything that indicated that it was anything other than a fully functional assault weapon?
No, nothing.
Okay. You and your husband continued to observe him. You were on the phone with your mom. You said quietly,
When he came around that
when he
corner.
came around the first corner, you said, man, gun, and you knew that she recognized the seriousness of the situation, told she said, call me back when you're safe.
Mhm.
You got your husband's attention. He called 911. You continued observations of this subject until officers arrived. You hear at that point, and I know I'm going fast forward, Reader's Digest
Right.
version of the story. Officers arrive. You hear them yell, put it down, put it down. Shortly thereafter, a few seconds maybe,
Mhm.
you heard 2 shots, correct?
Mhm.
All right. And then at that point, you hear one of the officers say he's getting up or he's running,
Mhm.
something to that effect. And shortly thereafter, basically you're told to get out of the building by other police officers who are approaching that scene,
Yes.
correct? And in the meantime, some other observations that you made, potential witnesses would have been this white man with blonde hair, blue jeans, red shirt, 6'1", very slender build, and then a Walmart associate who was near the automotive section. She's a white female, medium build, glasses, blonde hair, 20 to 30 years old,
It was brown hair.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I say blonde?
Yeah.
I meant brown hair. Brown hair, 20, 30 years old, thanks for correcting me. Who was with a white female, may have been in her 40s, long brown hair, long brown curly hair. Anything else about her? Okay.
I did.
And then as you were evacuating, you got to the parking lot, you saw a mixed race female, African American, Caucasian mixed female, who was inquiring about her boyfriend. She was on the phone. She asked if you'd seen her boyfriend, and the only inquiry was, did he have an afro?
And what was he wearing?
And what was he wearing? Black shirt, blue jeans with an afro. And then at that time, other people were coming out. You got to your car. They were starting to tape off the scene, and you left. And then that gets you to the point now where you're here recounting your observations of what you saw. I don't have any more questions, but I always like to end by asking did I miss anything? Is there any other information that you think is important that I need to know? No? You good?
Yep.
Okay, we'll conclude the interview. And before you leave, let me get you some witness statements that you can write out tonight after you're home, and then whenever.
I think you still have
I still have a
5.
whole bunch
You
of
still
them.
have
Yeah.
if you didn't bring them back with you, just use what he has.
Okay.
Assuming you don't need more than 5.
I shouldn't.
And if you do, come back. We'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
And at your earliest convenience, just drop it off to
Okay.
us here. All right?
All right.
We're all done.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming in, April. Sorry it was under the circumstances. Tyler, thanks for coming back. I will help you outside here.
So, just an FYI, I was out here waiting in the thing. There's a guy going down by the green with his pants off, masturbating while he's driving.